Today, I'm continuing interviewing people out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm talking to Brittany. Brittany, how old are you?
I am 26.
Brittany, how long have you been homeless? How long have you been using blues?
I have been homeless for a year and roughly been doing blues for 2.5 years.
And I noticed that you're expecting a baby. How many months are you?
I am 8.5 months.
And this is your third baby?
My third baby, yes.
How did you get started with blues, Brittany?
Well, I did heroin first for about 6 years, and then I started doing blues shortly. I transitioned to blues while doing heroin, just because, I don't know, it was just out in Moriarty. That's where I'm originally from, out in Moriarty. So I started doing them while I was doing heroin, and it just seemed easier to do blues than heroin at the time, and it was around more out there, so easier to get, pretty much.
And how many pills were you do? What was the max pills that you did in a day?
Probably like 13 to 14 pills a day.
And how do you make money?
I hold a sign right over there in the middle of the street.
What are your plans once you have your baby? What are you trying to do? What goals do you have?
Well, considering I have 2 other kids, when I was in Alabama, I took my daughter out there with me, and my son stayed in New Mexico with my mom, and I got my daughter taken away, so I got her back, but my 2 kids are with my mom. She has temporary guardianship with them. So the lady that my daughter was in foster care with is wanting to adopt a child because she is not able to have children of her own, so I think that's what I'm going to be doing.
You're going to place your baby up for adoption? That's probably the best route?
I'm thinking so, yeah.
And you mentioned you had been in other states. What states were those?
I was in California and Alabama.
In California or Alabama, are blues out there yet? Or?
Not really. First I went to Alabama, and out there they don't really have like heroin. I mean, they do, but it's not the same as it is out here. So basically, it's just like pure fentanyl. You know what I mean? And in California, it's pretty much the same. They have pure fentanyl. They sell powder fentanyl out there. There is blues, but not as much as there is out here. It's basically just pure fentanyl, what they use to press blues with. So.
And me personally, in Phoenix, I've seen the youngest that I've seen is 13. What's the youngest you've seen out here in Albuquerque?
12.
Isn't that scary, like as a parent, to know that there's young people that aren't allowed, aren't living their childhood because they're out here doing grown-up things?
It is, but at the same time, it kind of makes you think like where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Like what their parents are like. Like how come they're out here on the streets smoking pills? Where are their parents at? You know? It's kind of sad, honestly. Like, I mean, do they go home and their parents not know what they're doing, or are they just out here? Personally, the 12-year-old I seen pretty much looked like she was homeless, like she lived on the streets, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure, maybe, you know, some kids run away from home and end up doing other things while they're on the streets. So I don't know if that was the situation or what exactly it was, but yeah, it's pretty sad. Or I mean, like these days out here, you know, you see a lot of parents getting high with their kids, you know, and it's like, as a parent, I would never get high with my kids, ever. And personally, like, I've gotten high with my own mom, you know, because my mom was like 13 when she had me, and she was addicted to heroin. Her and my dad both were. So my dad's mom adopted me, which is my grandma, and I've gotten high with my mom as an adult, like when I very first started doing heroin. So it is kind of sad, you know, like, you would expect your parent to tell you no, and you shouldn't do that, but that's not exactly what it is a lot of times. So
Brittany, it's like a vicious cycle.
It is.
Your mom, you, but hopefully with your children, it stops with them, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope my life changes completely around by the time, you know, because my kids are still young, so by the time they get a little bit older, I hope, you know, things are a lot different than what they are right now, so.
what you're talking to me, telling me that you know that people go to Phoenix to buy the pills there because they're cheaper in Phoenix, and they come over here and sell them or use them.
Yeah.
Is that something that happens a lot?
I mean, I don't know a whole lot down the way that way. I mean, there's like a lot of cheaper hotels, like a lot of, you know, prostitution goes on there, so there's a lot of drugs around there. And I mean, I have heard of a lot of people saying, you know, that like they all carpool together and they go to Phoenix and pick up blues because they're a lot cheaper, and then bring them back and sell them for probably like 3 times as much the amount as they buy them for. Because, you know, obviously if you buy in bulk, they're cheaper, you know, so.
Brittany, in the next 3 months, where do you want to be, or where do you think you'll be?
Well, honestly, like when I was pregnant with my 2 other kids, I was on the methadone program. I was going to a program at UNM called Milagro. So, and it's for pregnant women who are addicted to opiates. So I'm hoping to get back into that program pretty soon, because obviously I'm kind of far along. I'm hoping to get back in that program. I'm on a housing waiting list right now to get into housing. So hopefully here soon, that's what, you know, I'll be doing. And then after the baby's born, like I said, I'm kind of thinking about adoption, so hopefully I'll be able to get a job so I'm able to take care of my other 2 kids.
So Brittany, the purpose of my channel Lost in Phoenix is to create prevention through awareness, and by you sharing your story, me being out here in Albuquerque, shedding light that it's not just Phoenix.
That's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It don't matter where you go. You can move to another state hoping, you know, to get away from all the stuff here, and I mean, it doesn't matter. If you want to be clean, you'll be clean, but as long as you go somewhere else and that's not really what you want, you'll find it. Eventually you'll find it. And, you know, being opiates, you get sick, obviously, so the sicker you are, the more desperate you are to do things, and, you know what I mean, you'll find it. No matter where you go, you'll find it. Anywhere.
Brittany, I hope that you find peace, comfort, and a better way of life, not only for yourself, but for your 3 children, because they need you, and you need to be clean. You need to live a better life, right?
Right.
So who determines that is you.
Right.
And I hope you get the courage and strength to go through treatment soon and live a better life, because you deserve it. Your children deserve it, okay?
Right.
Please stay safe out here. Thank you very much for sharing your story.
You're very welcome.
And
like, I wouldn't wish this life on anybody. You know, no, like, it's, I mean, being homeless is one thing, but to be homeless, pregnant, and around all this stuff, you know what I mean, it's too much. And like I said, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I wish someone would have told me at a younger age. I mean, knowing that my parents were addicted to heroin, but not really knowing, you know what I mean, like the outcome of it all. Like, I wish someone would have sat down and explained it a little bit more to me. That way I would have known, you know what I mean? So, like,
you made a mistake.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, you made a mistake.
Don't even try it.
Right. That's great advice. You know who's the first person that has to listen to that? You.
Right.
You know? So I think you're smart. I think you're seeing the ramifications, the consequences of those poor decisions. But from here on out, you get control of your life, and you know, start helping the community, right? Help others, right? Let them learn through your experience. So thank you very much. Please stay safe. It was nice meeting you.
You too.
And take care of yourself, okay?
Okay.